week's video lesson is going to be around levers. This is the first type of mechanical device we are going to look into, and they can be very, very useful in terms of changing the direction of motion. So, can you turn to this page in your booklet and write down this learning objective? I will learn about the different types of lever to understand how they can be applied in design. Pause the video here and write down that learning objective. Fantastic. So, levers for this section. So, to begin with, a lever is a mechanism that moves around a fixed point. This is the pivot. And then you've got two arrows acting upon the bar. The bar is the fulcrum. So the fulcrum is the fixed point that the lever moves around from. So it's the pivot. It moves around from that fixed point on the lever. The first arrow is the load, or it is the output of the lever. So scissors are an example of a lever because they've got one of the scissors which cuts through material. That would be the load. The final part, the lever. Fulcrum, load, and effort. They're just one of these classes. We've got first class, second class, and third class lever. The way we can distinguish which is by finding out which of these three elements. So it'll be a specific one of these levers. If it's effort, it will be a different one of the levers, and if load is in the middle, it will be the other type of lever. Fulcrum, the load, and the effort, FLE. All of these three elements are arranged along any pattern, any arrangement. They can be above. 3 is in the middle, tells us which class of lever it is. The best way of remembering it is 1, 2, 3, FL. So a first class lever always has the fulcrum in the middle. A second class lever, middle. And a third class lever always has the effort in the middle. If you can remember 1, 2, 3, FL, if it has a lever in it. So there is a little highlighted section on your page. Make sure you complete the chant. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Now looking at the individual types of lever. So we need to fill in the table on our page section so that you've got a really strong revision resource. So a first class lever is a lever which has the fulcrum in between in your table. The one to the right, you have got just the bar of the lever written down from the load and the effort onto that lever diagram. And finally, a good example, the fulcrum in the middle here, the pivot point, the stationary point at which the lever moves from. The handle, our hands, and move the scissors open and closed. And the output is down here, the sharp bit, because that is what we want. See these notes down and then play, and we'll look at the next class of lever. So the next one is second class lever. A second class lever is a lever which has the load in between 2, 3, FLE. Second, load in the middle. So for example, middle of the lever in between the effort and the fulcrum. Nutcrackers, great where it pivots from. The nut, this section in the middle, is the output because we want the nutcracker to crack open a nut, and effort and the fulcrum, meaning it's a second class lever. 1, 2, 3, FLE. Pause the video. Okay. Third but final. A third class lever is a lever which has the effort in between the fulcrum and the load. It's quite hard to come up or think of the tweezers. The fulcrum is at the back of the tweezer where they're connected. The effort is in the middle and then the end of the fulcrum, the tweezers where it actually grafts onto the hair. That is the output because that is clasp onto the hair, which is the load that we're trying to pull out. Okay, pause the video. Fantastic. So let's put this knowledge a first, a second, or a third class lever. The way we're going to do that is to pinpoint where along here, part here, the wheel, is that the fulcrum, load, or effort. It is the fulcrum because that is the point at which the twigs, the logs, what is that? We've got effort and load left. Which one of those two is it? It is the load. So we've got along this bar, we've got effort, load, and fulcrum. The load is in between the fulcrum and effort. Means it's second class lever. This is the way you should be figuring out whether, and then finding out from the middle one which class of lever we're looking at. So the next one, some chopstick, and then point to where you think the fulcrum, load, and the effort are situated. I hope you said load, because that is what we are trying to move. This finger here, this is the finger which applied to the lever. And then the fulcrum is this little section here, because that is where the whole top chopsticks moves up and down, rotates around from. So that's the fulcrum. We've got load on the left, effort in the middle, 3, which means we've got a third class lever. This next one, specific class of lever, but in this way, we've got this part down here, which is the fulcrum. Hand, is that the effort or the load? It's the effort, so that means the load is down here. Which class of lever is the hammer? Is it first class, second class, or... Okay, hand up if you said that it was a third class lever. I'm assuming some people have put their hands up. That's actually wrong. It's technically a first class lever. And I'll explain why. Not left to right. So the way I've labelled it, it makes it look like the effort is in between the fulcrum and the load. The hammer, you've got the effort on one side, the fulcrum next, and then up to the middle. So if the fulcrum's in the middle, it's a first class lever. That was a tricky one. And the effort is, and then play to find the results and what the correct answer is. You have got the load, the hand, that is the effort, that's putting force into the product to make it work, and at the back we have fulcrum, effort's in the middle, 1, 2, 3, F, L, E, E is 3, it's a third class lever.